Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to rate these players for Survivor 44.
Yeah, we are. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And then get excited because we have Survivor 43's James Jones. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm ready to rate these players. I mean, I've been practicing. I've been practicing my ratings the past couple of weeks, so I'm ready to go.
Throwing some dice, practicing like that, like actually like getting some live dice and throwing them for these players.
That and just saying what I would do differently if I were playing.
Right.
Just classic armchair quarterback.
I love it. I do it all the time. I'm like, that's the worst move ever. And if I was out there, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be doing this. So yeah, I want to hear your perspective for sure.
Yeah, you have far more of a right to say wrong move because you have been there.
Thank you.
This week we lost half of Frankenship. Mr. Matt got a bad end of a twist. So we're obviously not going to rate him. So let's talk about Matt here at the top. We knew he was going to be the first to go out of the duo, but I don't think I realized it was going to be this soon. Chantele, what were you thinking about Matt this week?
I felt really bad for him. You are a little bit more of a fan of twists. You find them exciting, generally speaking, than I do. And being swap screwed really, really is unfortunate. And I know you said, Sarah, like, bring your bag. You're on Survivor. And like, yeah, I don't know why he doesn't have his bag. Like, he could have maybe pretended that his idol was real. He could have done something. He might have been able to use his shot in the dark. So he didn't have all the tools that he could have maybe been able to keep him in the game. But like, why call it a merge when it's actually just a swap? Like, and another tribe is watching your tribal council. I really wanted to see him go a little bit further into this game because I was really liking him, and I understand that he left because of the fact that he is so likable. But like, I just wanted to see him like vote. And like maybe have like a couple of votes where he's like really playing the game of Survivor. The fact that he lost his vote for his whole journey there for the most part is just unfortunate that somebody that I think is a pretty big fan of the show didn't really get to play the game that he wanted to play because of some of the mechanics. So I was very sad to see him go. He was on my draft team. I mean, I'm happy to hear that him and Franny are doing something together because I think they're a very, very likable duo. I'm just kind of upset just with how he went out because I just don't like people getting twisted and swap screwed. It just is like unsatisfying.
It's so awful. Did you see that Matt and Franny are into astrology, Chantele?
I saw you tweet that, so I need to know more. So let's do it.
I brought it up to him. I was like, look, astrologically speaking, you guys are a good pair. And he was like, oh, we look at our horoscope. So hopefully we talk to them after the end of the season about their chart, but not talking about astrology here. James, how did you feel about Matt getting screwed in this episode?
So, I mean, being a victim of the challenge split tribal, I very much feel for Matt because the game goes so fast and you're trying to cultivate as many relationships as possible. But you have challenges, you have, tribal, and there's only so many hours in a day. So, I think it's maybe 4 days, after kind of the mergatory, and you're still trying to build relationships. And you don't know where that rock draw is going to lead you. If the rocks go any other way, he probably is safe, or he already has more of a chance of being safe. And I think those are the things where, from an agency standpoint, as a player, you're out there, you're playing hard, and you get a situation where it's going to be hard for you to overcome, and it's tough, especially I think the game has been very tribal, at least the seasons that I've seen and played. And it's either by force or just kind of where the game dictates everybody goes. And it's split. When it's split, it's only 5 people. It's kind of just like safe shelter, as my friend Gabler would say. You're just looking for a harbor and safe shelter. And you have 3 people from your tribe. You go with the devils that you know versus the devil that you don't know.
Yeah, he couldn't do much in that
No.
situation. And I just don't like seeing people not have a shot where it really was bad luck at the draw. You know,
Yeah.
what I like about these social strategy games for the most part is that we can use ourselves to be able to advance ourselves further in the game. So it's either our social abilities, or the way that we strategize, whatever. But like when it just like is a rock draw and you lose a little challenge, like, and just I'm like, ah, like he can't really do that much about it with the numbers, and it's a little bit frustrating.
I think the one thing he could have did was yell to Franny to drop the ball. Like literally just yell, drop, Franny, drop. I mean, because at this point, I think the one thing people were trying to keep their cars to your vest, but at this point, the war started. And whoever shoots the shot first typically gets the advantage. So people know you're a duo. I mean, they may not know the extent of it, but at the same time, like you said, let's not play nice. Like sometimes you have to kind of do that. So I think that's the one thing he probably could have did, but
do you think that you would have done that? Like that's a pretty bold move to like yell for someone to drop. Do you think you would do that if you were in his place?
If I would think that I would do that. Like in my head, I would think that if they're safe, that makes me safe, and that's my bona fide number one. Like in this game, having somebody that you can trust completely is better than an idol, is better than an advantage, is better than an alliance. So I think I probably would have. I would like to think that I would have if I was in a situation. But
I was going to say, also speaking of that, though, they have the majority on that other side, right? So, like, they wouldn't have been in danger. They would have, who would they have knocked off? Like a Carson, or they would knock off Kane or something. Like, it wouldn't have, it would have actually weakened the numbers for this war that's going to be happening when they actually come into a merged tribe. And so I think that there would have been a good argument being like, hey, let's keep us strong, because like I would be fighting really hard here if I had to go to tribal council here. Franny, like, just keep Soka strong together. So, yeah, I think that actually have a good point, James, that maybe that was the move.
That's an interesting, I didn't even think about like yelling out. I've only was thinking it from Franny's perspective of like, good for her to like go for it herself, win. I mean, honestly, from her perspective, it probably is better to lose Matt. But like, I didn't even think like Matt could have probably just been like, Franny, stop it.
You're already safe, Franny. Save me, Franny.
Yeah.
You're going to feel guilty about this if I go home.
That would have been so interesting. Well, let's dive in with who survived this episode. We're going to start with Brandon and Chantele. How do you feel about your boyfriend, Brandon, at this moment?
Brandon, I mean, I think that it was smart of him to stay strong with his tribe. I'm forgetting the names of the tribes right now. What's their tribe?
Ratu,
yes. Okay, so Ratu, it was him that ended up like having to go to tribal council on the split. Him, Jamie, and Lauren, and he stuck together. And I think that was a smart move, even though he had some intel about Lauren. I think that he was involved in that conversation, intel about Danny, and I think that it was smart for him to actually vote out Matt to break up that Soka group. So I am giving him this week. He's bumped up a couple of spots this week. Ooh. Even though he was on like the losing one, he did win immunity for himself. He unfortunately was unable to win immunity for the tribe, but he was safe here, and the votes went in his favor. So I'm giving him 4 dice this week.
4 dice for Brandon. I agree. I'm going to bump him up. I'm going to give him an extra dice from last week because he won immunity for himself. I'm always going to give you a dice for that, a die for that. He was on the right side of the vote. He obviously had a say in the vote, was controlling that to some extent. I didn't love the way that he just spilled all that information at the top of this episode where he was like, hey, so this is how the birdcage thing had. There was an idol and a fake idol. Like mixed company, all tribes just standing around. I don't think he quite gets...
That's true.
Keeping some things, like the power of information. I think he was just spilling. So I think that's what's keeping me from giving him a 5 because it was a pretty good week for him, good episode for him. So I'm going to also do 4 dice as well. James?
I want to give Brandon 5 dice. I really do. but I do think Jam Jam was the vote here. For
Mm.
that's what I mean. That's
Oh,
my personal opinion. I feel
yeah.
like Brandon is one that perceived biggest, probably bigger threats in the game. He won the immunity
Mm.
challenge. I feel like, this is my bias. When you want to keep as many people in the game from a threat perspective, and people perceive you as a threat. So I'm still giving Brandon a 4 dice. He didn't try to get creative at
Mhm.
tribal. He kept his numbers. He showed his loyalty. And I think the reason why he's communicating this information is because he knows that that spotlight is on him. So the second
Mhm.
he says a lie or he gets caught in a lie, that gives everybody a reason to vote the guy that just won the immunity challenge, that played football, that's 6'2", 200 pounds, get him out the game. So he gets 4 dice for keeping his tribe together, keeping them locked in, and making it to the next vote.
Yeah. Agreed. The audience gave him 3 dice, not as much, but so he is still going to average out to 4 dice this week. Not too shabby, Brandon. All right, I'll start us off here with our next one. Queen Carolyn. We love you, Carolyn. We are super entertained by you. Look, she wasn't running anything this week, but she was completely safe. She was on the right side here. And she still has her secret idol. So I'm not changing anything for her. I'm keeping her at the 4 dice that I gave her last week. James. I'm going to jump to James.
I am going to go 3, only because I feel like she really told everybody that she was really good with Jam Jam, and also I just don't know how much agency that the other players put in her, which makes her a long-term great for the game. Like, you want to be in that position where people feel like, they can mold your vote or that you are not in the loop. And I feel like just because of this episode, she didn't vote. So I say 3 dice. But I feel like she's playing the best game she can play. And I think, keeping the idol to herself, I wonder if, I do wonder if people suspect that she has the idol at this point, from the Tika with Jam Jam and Carson. Because either Carson has it or
Sarah went home with it?
No, not Carson or her have it. Because if Jam Jam had it, he would have played it at some point.
But I think they think
Sarah went home with that. No,
it was the person before her. They thought Helen. Yeah, because Carson thought Helen looked shady, so they think that Helen went home with it.
More power to Carolyn. I still keep it at 3 dice. I want to see how Carolyn moves inside this merge structure and have a little agency and kind of orchestrate a vote or two. But that if she's playing, she's at the perfect place right now, where no one's thinking about her and this big tribe war is coming. So she didn't stick her head up. She didn't get too upset. And some people will get upset if people are coming at their number one or perceived number one. So keeping everybody calm and people felt comfortable telling her, which is good. Like, no one told me they're coming for Carla. So so that in that sense, she's definitely 3 dice.
I have to agree with you here, James, because Sarah, she didn't do anything this episode. We love Carolyn. Yes, she's exciting. Yes, we'd love to see her play a winning game. But at this point, this episode, they took away her agency here. She couldn't even vote. And the fact that she kind of let it known, like, hey, like, the only person that I care about is, like, I don't want Matt or don't want Jam Jam to be going home this episode. And I think that could be a reason for them wanting to target them and maybe break them up a little bit later down the road. So I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic that, she's going to be fine, but I don't know yet if that was like the best for her long-term game. Not sure, but she does keep Jam Jam in the game. I would have loved to see if there was a conversation with her and Heidi maybe. And I needed to have seen a little bit more to give her a little bit more dice here, but I'm sticking with the middle of the road with a 3. We know that Carolyn can deserve 5 sometimes, but this episode, 3 dice.
Okay, I get it. You're right. Yeah, I wonder if, because they do kind of consider Jam Jam as like What does he have? It's fine. We can keep him. He's got no one. But the fact that Carolyn was like crying and was like, no, I don't want to lose Jam Jam. Like maybe they do start to see the two of them as a duo. Does that change things?
Exactly.
Well, the audience is on my side and they gave her 4 dice. So she is going to average out with 4 dice.
I mean, I'm okay with that, but like she didn't do 4 dice worthy activity in this episode. But
I hear you. I hear you. All right, James, start us off here with Carson. How are you feeling about Carson?
Well, looking at the episode, he chose the right side. I think he chose the right side from a number standpoint. So I feel like he made a very good decision. He's embracing being the younger kind of person out there, and I feel like he's letting a lot of people kind of talk to him. So he's giving me 4 dice. I'm between 3 and 4 only because he didn't really play or do anything. But I feel like he's a person that has a lot of information, and I wonder if people are going to pick up on it. But he gets 4 dice from me.
4 dice. All right. Chantele?
So I was going to start off Carson having 3 dice because he didn't have that much involvement with what went on this particular episode. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he used whatever intuition or he looked at the players, he was able to assess who was going to be working together and who he wanted to be on a tribe with, like if things went south. I think that he probably made a better decision. So because of that reason, that he was able to win here and choose the right tribe, I gave him 4 dice as well.
Is that how he chose his teams, do you think? I
would hope so. I mean, am I giving him too much credit?
I think that he saw the tribes. He saw 3 rods. He saw 3 Soka. He could be the 4th flip vote against somebody, and he could have blindside either Carolyn or Danny if need be.
Wow. I genuinely was like, oh, he either went with Danny or maybe Heidi. Like the two of them were possibly going to win. That's all I was giving. I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I also gave him 4 dice though, because he basically won immunity. He chose the right side. He didn't get to compete and he doesn't get to vote. There's not much else he could do this episode, but he did choose the right side. So I'm giving him 4 dice as well. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Carson. Audience gave him 4. So 4 dice.
But worried about the scenes for the next episode.
I know, but they always just tease us.
Not always, though, because we thought that with Matthew, right? And then, like...
They didn't tease my episode.
Yeah. I'm hoping that was just like a one-time throw up. You're right. I hope that's not something serious. Ooh.
I am a little bit worried.
Okay, who is next? Danny. Chantele, can you start us off for Danny?
Well, I'm going to see if I can talk. I put down a number, but I'm going to see if I'm going to talk myself in or out of this particular number. So Danny, obviously, I really enjoy him. Met him when I met you, James, in Toronto. I think he's a great guy. And he's been playing a fun game. He's been playing a game that's been enjoyable to watch. I'm not sure if I can give him. Okay, yeah, I'm going to stick with my number. I thought it through with the fact that he doesn't know that it kind of is out that his Soka tribe was potentially going to turn on him. It was a regular merge. For the fact that the information came out that he did plant a fake idol for Matt to find, and Matt figured that out, and he has no idea that information is kind of that we know of, anyways, is running around. And so I think he lost a little bit of his power here. And I don't think he knows that. So I originally was going to give him 4 dice here, but because of the fact that he's lost some power and he doesn't know yet that he's lost some power, I'm bringing him down to 3. But he was on the winning side. He didn't have to go to tribal. So give him some props there, but he's at a 3 this week for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm keeping him at a 3. He does have the idol. He was safe this week. He was on the right side. But he didn't get his target out. Like he was really trying to sort of maneuver things to get Lauren. Not sure that was even mathematically possible. But it kind of seemed like Heidi didn't wasn't like whatever you say, Danny, right? And this info got out about Danny having the idol. Again, it went to Brandon and like some other random people, so I don't even know if they believe it now that Matt is gone. But yeah, he's not sitting so pretty like he had been. So I'm gonna agree with you on 3 dice. James,
Love Danny. Love Danny. I'm going to be objective and go with 2. And the reason why is just throwing out someone's name prior to the challenge is a very, very dicey, risky move. I'm also a big fan of being adjacent to power, meaning you have an idol, Lauren has an extra vote. I'm a big fan of not neutralizing that, but people with advantages stick together. So if you have an idol, they have extra vote, you want to make sure that you're closer to that person, and that person is less of a threat to you because you have an idol. So that's why I would say it too. You want to keep your intentions a little more close to the vest. And that just gave, Lauren enough ammo to target Matt, knowing that Matt was Soka, and that quote unquote Danny being the quote unquote leader of Soka may not be the leader, but our louder person as a quote leader. I think that may have put a bigger target on Matt's back. But Matt was trying to vote him out 2, possibly, or that's something he was just saying. So I say 2 only because he threw out Lauren's name prior to the challenge.
Oh, wow. Even though he's got like an idol and flying high, 2 for Lauren. Interesting. James.
No, there's 2 for Danny, right?
World right now.
Danny.
Yeah, Danny. Yeah. You're making me think about all new stuff, James. I'm really appreciating all of this.
I like that term though, adjacent to power. Keep power close to you. Know where the power is. It's as a shield instead of just immediately trying to get rid of it. So it's a good point.
Yeah. Well, the audience gave Danny 3 dice, so he is going to average out at 3 dice. But we all learned something new here today, and I appreciate that. Who is next? The other half of the duo here. Let's see. Is this me starting? Okay, Franny, I adore you. Okay. You won immunity. Good job. You get dice for that. Absolutely. Then you kept your entire team safe. Now, look, there is definitely a question out there. Should she have kept her team safe, or should she have let Matt's team be safe? But I live in the world where the duo is not good for you, Franny. Matt needed to go. So even though this was really hard to lose Matt, I think that this was best for her overall game. I'm giving her 4 dice.
Franny, 4 dice. Am I next?
James.
Man, because I feel like Franny is playing like a 4 or 5 dice game. Like overall, like 4 or 5 dice. I feel like Franny is literally physically, she's a beast. Socially, no one's really trying to attack her. Everybody wanted to play with her. This episode, I'm gonna have to go with the 2 dice. Only because I feel like at this point of the game speeds up. There's only so many votes between now and 4 fire making, and her and Matt as a duo, Jam, Carolyn, Carson, that's 5. I feel like you have to keep your number 1 as long as possible in this game, at least till you get down to around the 6 or 7 mark is when you decide to make that move. And because of that, now, I don't think playing as a duo is as bad as it is perceived, because you also are looked at as 2 votes, which is very powerful, and groups come together. So if you know you can have 2 votes there, I think on the island you can figure, I'm trying to get to 6 votes. If I have 4, I pull in Franny and Matt, that's 6. Forget everybody else. So when you're just thinking about votes, that's the way I look at it. So a duo necessarily isn't a bad thing. I think duos do really well because of their trust level that you have, where you can talk about almost anything. And I think they were to that level, and clearly they're still together. So that's the only reason. It's a 2 for this episode. Right. I would say 4 overall. Franny, don't kill me.
So just real quick, sorry, James, if you were Franny and you're up there, you won individual immunity. You're saying it was best. Jump down, let Matt be safe.
No, don't jump down. Just stumble down.
Yeah. The wind.
Right. And then you act heartbroken. You act heartbroken about it, and and you and Matt snuggle up at camp next night.
Amazing. All right, you're convincing me. Yeah, Chantele.
Well, I mean, I agree with your points. I don't know if I agree with the dice. Like two. I feel like something really, 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 really wrong to go from winning this episode and winning for yourself and your tribe and go to get 2 dice. So I'm giving her more than 2 dice, but I do understand your points and I do agree that you should keep your ally in the game. And so different to Sarah, as much as I can see people wanting to break up a duo potentially. I do think it's better for them right now with the fact that they haven't come together and voted as one merged tribe yet to lose a number already. Lose someone that would never go against you. Lose someone that's always going to be honest with you and lose someone that would always bring information to you. And so I think that it was just might have been too soon, because they haven't seen what the dynamics were going to play out with a merged tribe. I think it would have been better for all of them, because I'm going to have a problem with Heidi as well for this. I think that they should have all still kept their tribe as strong as possible, because they haven't gone to a vote yet. So I think that her athletic ability is amazing. I think that her likability is amazing. So I would have started her off at a 5, but I'm going to have to knock her down for me to a 4, because I think losing your number 1 ally and weakening your original tribe it could be detrimental to her life in the game. So 4 stars, 4 dice for me, but not 2. I couldn't go 2, but 4.
The audience did 4 dice as well, so she is going to average out at 4. But
I do.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if I believe you. No, just kidding.
You guys have convinced me that now Matt should still be in the game.
100% he should still be in the game. They lost numbers, and now they can easily pick up Jam Jam and Carolyn potentially, and just take out original Soka. Potentially, right? So
potentially, but I love the fact that they have not been OG whatever tribe strong. People have let's get out Matt, let's get out Josh, let's get out Kane. They're all trying to get out their original tribe people, and we don't usually see this. I find
but it didn't happen at that split tribe. So you know what I mean? That could have been a great time to break up some of that Ratu, right? So the fact that didn't happen, I think that it's going to be a division when they come together.
And one thing, and I hate to jump in, I feel like in pre-merge, the fact that there weren't any ride or die votes pre-merge, a lot of people I feel like they haven't been a merged tribe yet. So I feel like there's just so much flexibility left where you don't know where the cracks are. And I feel like that's the hardest part, because Claire was the easy vote, Josh was the easy vote. Sarah and Heidi, they were relatively easy votes for everybody that were still left in the game. So they haven't had that hard vote internally with those tribes, so you don't know where tribal lines are. So that's why having those trust people that you trust are very key in this game right now.
Well, Heidi is up. James, can you start us off with Heidi?
Oh, all right. So I love Heidi. I feel like Heidi had literally one of the best positions in the game. Danny, great shield. Enough relationship to talk to everybody about the advantage, except for we saw Carolyn. So clearly she's able to pull people in. So she has that ability to communicate with people. The only question is, and we don't know, is how tight are her and Lauren? Now, so if her and Lauren are fine, where she said, I voted for Jam Jam, I feel like I'm gonna give her a 3. I think everybody is killing the decision, but I feel like it was the best decision that she could make if she does not want to start a war with Lauren and Ratsu. Even I feel like if she only other person you'll really target would probably be Lauren, that tribal, because Jamie has a quote unquote idol and Brandon's immune. So it's a tough place. And stealing, I would have probably maybe stole Jamie's vote and put that on Jam Jam to not feel like I was attacking Lauren, but I feel like she can pass things over with Lauren. She didn't. Chica isn't really an entity that has that much strength. So, all right, I'm going three stars, three dice. I was thinking 2, but I'm going 3.
Oh, all right, yeah.
So I'm appreciating that, like, Heidi it's her coming out episode. She was able to find this advantage. I don't like that she didn't seem to have a choice of whether or not she wants to use it or not. Like, I like people having a choice for their own particular game. She had to stand up in front of everybody and reveal this power that she has and make this strategic decision in front of everybody. And it could come to bite her in the butt, which also kind of sucks. But I do think it's her relationship with Lauren that made her not want to go after Lauren in that way. Now, I'm wondering, though, with her saying Jam Jam, like, I think that, she was trying to potentially appease a little bit her original Soku tribe, being like, oh, I couldn't say for her to vote for Matt out of the game, I have to go for Jam Jam. But she was saying in all of her confessionals, like, I want to keep Jam Jam, I want to keep close, I want to work with them. And I don't think she realized that Jam Jam might not be that happy with the fact that he was voted for, even if she says, like, I knew that she had 2 votes, I knew that they would still have the numbers to keep you safe. The fact that he was a little bit expendable, he doesn't really come back that easily. He still remembers the things that have happened. So I could see him and Carolyn immediately just, like, jumping ship and going with the other group to maybe not want to work with Heidi moving forward. So I'm not sure yet, obviously, if this is going to be a good decision for her game. But she was put in a terrible decision by the show. And so, like, I give her 3 stars because, like, she's kind of handcuffed to having to make a choice. And no matter what, I don't think that she could have gotten the numbers to get anybody out with Lauren having 2 votes. So she just kind of was in a shitty position. But I don't know if she made the best decision in her shitty position for her game.
Okay, why are you saying she's handcuffed to this? She found an advantage. No one is forced to use an advantage.
Are you sure?
I think she was forced to use it. I think it was in the letter that you have to kind of use it tonight.
Like, you must use it at the next tribal council. I thought it was a must.
Said this is only good for this tribal council. Are we thinking it was a must play at this?
I thought it was a must play, but I could be.
I just feel like it's a must play. I feel like even if it wasn't written there, I'm pretty sure there's, like, you must play this. I'm pretty sure that conversation happened.
Well, if it wasn't a must play, then that's even worse, I think. Right?
Yeah, this changes my dice. I'm going to play the dice thinking it's not a must play. If it's a must play, I would add a dice here, but she got an advantage that could have been amazing. If Lauren didn't have her extra vote, she could have done something with it. But mathematically, it didn't work out. There was no way she could have played this well. What she did was ruin a relationship with Jam Jam and Lauren. I'm pretty sure the daggers that flew out of Lauren's eyes were like, you're dead to me. So I think that is not a great relationship. And yeah, if you did want to work with Jam Jam, it's not going to be like a good relationship now, even if he pretends that everything is okay. This was a horrible advantage for her. If she was forced and required to do it, it backfired, and I would give her 3 dice. But I think that it wasn't required, and I'm giving her 2 dice because she should not have played it. But if it were required, it would bump you up to 3. That's okay. The audience gave you 3. You're going to average out to 3, Heidi. So it doesn't really matter what I say. But yeah, that was so bad.
If she chose to do that, like, that's almost a 1 dice move. Like, 1 die. But
look, she found the advantage, so I had to give you a dice for that, a die. Okay, but
so I'm a little biased. I am finding advantages. like avoid them at all costs.
Right?
Like you're like, I see the birdcage and keys, and I'm just gonna go to the beach. Is what
No,
you're
the
doing. You're like,
birdcage I loved because you probably thought that was something, but anything else outside of nah.
Well, nobody seems to get to play them properly, and they just basically ruin their game. Make them have a target on their back, and they never get to play it effectively. So
Right?
I agree with you. Knowledge and power is a flop. It ruined everything.
Okay, Jamie, Chantele. Jamie, living her best life. Delusional edit. How you feel?
I mean, I want to buy into Jamie. I think she's a very lovely presence. I think she's fun. I don't know if she did any bing bing magic talk this episode, but she has been up until this point. I'm not sure if she went against she went to Soka Tribe when they had that swap, right? If I'm not mistaken. And so I'm just wondering why she would have want to maybe go against them, because those would be 4 people that would still want to work with her out of the rest of the Ratu people. So I was just surprised that yes, you could be, you want to be your original tribe strong, but she could have maybe made a play to maybe take out Jam Jam and make reasons why Jam Jam might be the better person to split up him and Carolyn because they're going to be a potential swing vote, whatever it is. Because I think it might have been better for her specifically to keep the numbers that she made and the alliances and the friendships that she made when she was the most important player in the game. And so I want to say give her a little bit more props here, but I think she's kind of middle of the road here. Yes, she voted correctly, but I'm not sure if that was the best vote for her particular game. And so I gave her 3 stars.
Three dice.
Yeah. Give us 3 stars today. Right.
I agree with 3. She was on the right side of the vote, but she clearly doesn't really have any agency because I feel like the Matt vote was driven by other people and she ultimately had to go along with it to stay with her tribe. So I don't think that she is in the best position as she has claimed that she has a lot of power. I don't know that it played out in this particular episode. So I'm going to just kind of do a 3 here. Yeah. James?
I think I'm going to shock everybody. And I feel like this is a 4 or 5 episode. This is a 4 dice. This is 4 dice. And you want to be in a position where people at this point in the game, people feel like you don't have agency, but you have numbers. I want to go back to that running hug that Lauren gave her on the beach. And I'm pretty sure those 2 are tight and no one's talking about them as a duo. If those 3 can they're red too, but I feel like no one is pegging them as being tight outside of just coming from the same tribe. I feel like she's the least threatening out of everybody at Ratu. You have Big Brandon, then you have Lauren. So she's in that prime Cassidy position where if you're the last Mohegan with 2 big shields in front of you, you only have so many votes to get to 4. The goal is to get to 4.
What about Kane? You forgot about Kane.
Kane is not. Kane is. I would say almost like Ryan. Kane is there. Kane's a solid vote, but I feel like Kane would be your sacrificial Ratu lamb.
Right.
Agreed. Unfortunately. Okay, 4 dice for her. I mean, I hope she's in a better place than this edit is giving it for her. Because I'm worried. I'm worried about this edit.
I mean, the edit, all right, so with the edit, what I try to do, this is my secret part, I shouldn't say this, I look at what they're not showing. Who are they not showing having conversations? Because that's where I think the key information is, because they want to shock everybody at Tribal Council.
Well, I was actually saying this, the people that are not really in the forefront for the new era have been the winners of the season. And so she's kind of been in the forefront a little bit with, all the bings and the fake idol and kind of the delusional edit. And so I don't actually peg her to be the winner this season, but I do think that what's hidden, they're hiding a lot more from us to surprise us in the end with the winner. And so I do agree with you to a certain extent there, for sure.
Yeah, back to that point. We talked about this last week about we talked about last week about like who's not in the edit. And then when Heidi was like so big in the edit this episode, I was like, oh my God, this is what Chantele, we were just talking about that. Oh my God, Heidi's winning. Oh my God. And then Heidi's like advantage like failed so miserably. I was like, oh no. I don't know. I mean, she might be. She showed up at exactly the right time. James, you're back. Are you good?
I'm good. I don't know what's happening, but I'm fighting through it. It's great.
All right. Well, speaking of Kane, oh wait, I don't think I finished. The audience gave Jamie 3 dice, so she is going to average out 3 dice there. But Kane, sweet Kane. I keep waiting. I keep waiting to see more about Kane. Really hanging on, hoping he shows up and does something amazing. But unfortunately, this episode was not it. And back to what James just said, like if it's going to be a Ratu Soka thing, he's the lowest person. He's the first one that's going to go unless someone makes some sort of fancy move. So I had him at 2 dice last week. I'm just going to leave him at 2 dice.
Am I next?
James is next.
So I think Kane is in a really good spot.
Because we don't seeing him in the edit at all. Right?
Because I don't think he is as married to Ratu as Ratu.
Yeah.
So being able to be that flexible, he puts you in a position where you're able to be flexible. You're able, like he doesn't have any, like they haven't voted together, Ratu, right? They have not voted together ever. So he's more of a free agent than, Jamie, Brandon, Lauren voted together. He hasn't voted with them yet. So he may be more closer with Carson, Carson and Carolyn. That gives them 3. And they're going to be in the middle. And it's not really a middle of this, that tribe. And, well, it is a middle. I think that's more of the middle than I think he's in the middle now. And I think he's in the middle. I was thinking Heidi came down with the information. So that's already someone from Soka coming to you with information. You giving counsel, and they thought enough of you to come to you. They're sitting down with you. Hopefully you built some bonds with Franny as well. Nerd Alliance, Carson. I feel like he has a sneaky good position where if Brandon tries to target him or Ratchet tries to target him, I feel like it's an easy situation where you have 2 big targets in Lauren and Brandon to attack and make it an easier move for everybody else. I know I'm thinking, but so I'm giving him 3. He hasn't executed on this, but I think 3 dice.
3. All right, I like it. Chantele.
So generous. The possibility, the hope of if you are strategically playing the Kane video game, like this is what you hope for him. I just don't know if I have that much hope for him, other than the fact that the edit doesn't have him in it that much, that maybe he's winning this season. I just don't see this particular episode that he's done that much. Like, yes, he does have people coming to him, but they're on a split tribe, and Heidi is a social player. Like, she's going to want to make connections with people that saw her get this particular advantage. And so it would be terrible for her game if she left him out of this decision or not consult him at all. So I don't know if I think of him as being a strategic mastermind for the fact that she spoke to him this episode. So I'm going to agree with you, Sarah. I got to give him a 2. I just don't know his game right now.
We don't.
Everything could change when they come to the merge, and I can see the actual dynamics and how the structure of the
real merge.
But I just don't know what's happening because it's still in flux. We're still in mergatory, folks. So I don't know.
That's the hardest part, where it's like you just don't know where anybody or anything kind of stands because you haven't had one real vote yet.
It's so true, and I agree and hope that he is going to pair up with
Sure.
Carson and the Tikas, and we're going to get a little nerd army that takes over. I hope it. I love it, but we have yet to see it. But maybe what we're not seeing is exactly what we're supposed to be seeing.
Yeah, it could be right. Yeah.
The winner get it.
I mean,
Like, what kind of TV show is like what you're not seeing though, huh?
Well,
hiding
they
in
do
plain
like the
sight.
surprise, right? See, exactly. Like every single winner this new era, like I had no idea that they were going to win at this point in the game.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah. The audience gave Kane 2 dice as well. So sorry, Kane. Yeah, sticking with 2 dice. We all hope for more from you. Just a couple here left. Let's move on to someone else who actually kind of showed up in this episode for the first time in a while. Lauren. James, start us off with Lauren.
5 dice.
Oh.
5 dice.
Whoa.
Able to
more
keep
about that.
I mean, able to keep your tribe together. You know, it's easy for people to flip in this game. I feel like it's very, it's very hard to keep your tribe together. Everybody stays strong. She did not panic, and she didn't use her extra vote. That means they were in firm control of the numbers. You knew exactly what was going to happen at that tribal. Nothing threw them off. That is hard to do in this game with the paranoia running rapid. The second someone takes a vote, I want to ensure my thing happens. And Lauren Tribal, she stood tall, kept everybody together. I feel like that was to be able to keep her extra vote, not use it, and still have that left.
Didn't she?
No, she didn't use it.
Wait,
I
thought she voted one for Jam Jam and another for I thought she did 1 and 1.
Nope.
Didn't need to.
Didn't need to. So to me, that shows Lauren has a firm grasp of at least what's happening, especially this episode, especially with Jamie, especially with Brandon, especially with Jam Jam. That shows me that she had confidence that Jam Jam wasn't going to make a move. Because she got her vote taken and the vote still went her way. She knew Jam Jam was voting for Matt, Brandon's voting for Matt, Jamie's voting for Matt. She kept her advantage. They're going into 10. Now that gives her extra advantage to at least try to get her to 9, then 8. And one vote, you got to get the 4. And I feel like this was a great episode because they could have easily targeted her with the extra vote, and took her out the game.
Chantele, I don't think you agree.
No, I'm just trying to remember it. I'm just remembering because like I did my rankings thinking that she used both of it. So for the fact that she kept her advantage, I'm gonna have to bump her up from the 4 stars that I was giving her to 5.
What?
I thought that she used her advantage. I'm like, so you lost a little bit of your power here, and that's what I was thinking. But the fact that she kept it, I think it's actually really strong. I'm not sure if this is why she kind of was shooting those daggers over at Heidi, but it could show that there's a separation there. And if they are actually super tight, like it could be a little bit of a cover being like, okay, like I was just like, I don't really care. Like, I'm not mad at you at all. Like, like force me to do that. That's totally fine. And so I think that she actually played a solid game this round. I love the fact that she's kept the power that she has in this game. I love the fact that she kept her numbers, even though she was able to number crunch here and know that she was still going to be fine with the vote. And so, yeah, I'm happy with what she's done this episode. I'm happy that she has people there that are wanting her to be in this game, wanting her to be part of the vote and know what's going on. And so I feel good about her moving forward, and especially being on this particular losing tribe. Like, I feel the best from her on this split vote moving forward. I think the best of everybody this episode. So, yeah, 5. I'll give her 5.
Interesting, guys. You know what?
You're like convinced, or
I might be convinced here because I was definitely scoring her high because I do love that she has yet to use her extra vote. She still has that in her pocket. And I think that, or at least I want to give her a lot of credit for this Matt vote because I think she was the one who realized it was important for her to get Matt out. So she drove this vote. She convinced Brandon and Jamie to do this vote for her. So I am giving her a bunch of credit. And if I look back, I gave Carson a 4 and he had nothing to do with this vote. So I feel like it's only fair that the person who did control the vote get 5 dice. So yeah, you did it, guys. You convinced me. She
Yes,
gets 5
Lauren.
dice from
Show
me.
up.
We flipped the vote.
Yes.
You
Live
did.
tribal right here.
Look, Lauren is another one who is showing up in the edit right at the time that New Era starts to show us the people who are actually in contention to win the season. So I think her and Heidi are 2 people to keep an eye out, now in this second half of the season, like whatever this is. The audience only gave her 3 dice, but it don't matter because we averaged her out at 5 dice. So she's still going strong. Look at that, Lauren. Way to go.
Yay.
Way to get it done. All right. 1 more to go here. Chantele, talk to me about Jam Jam.
I love him, but I don't know if he's the best game player.
What?
I mean, I want him in the game. I don't want him to leave the game. But I don't know if he has control of his life in the game. I think he's always at the mercy of if everybody else would prefer to keep him in the game versus somebody else. And so because of that, I can't put him as a middle of the road player. I can't just give him 3 stars or 3 dice because he's not really in control of his own fate. Or fate. So yeah, I'm giving Jam Jam, as much as I love him, as much as he has Carolyn rooting for him and probably Carson as well. On this particular episode, we only saw him kind of fighting for his life. But yes, he was successful. He stayed in the game, but it wasn't really because of anything that he did. So I'm going to give him 2 dice.
2 dice.
Sorry, Jam Jam. I like you still.
Jam. I disagree slightly here. Yes, he was fighting for his life, but I do think he saved his life because I think he is the one who planted very vital information to Lauren that Matt and Danny were throwing out your name. It was that moment that Lauren was like, I will make sure Matt goes because of the information Jam Jam gave to her. So
you can bump me up then. I forgot about that.
Oh, Jam Jam,
it's live tribal right here. I did forget about that, and that was a huge part of him saying. So
yes, again, he's coming from the bottom. He is a target once again. I genuinely said, he's probably not going to be a target again. And here he is. Of course, he's default target. So he is fighting from the bottom, but I gave him an extra dice to 3 as well. So did Chantele, because that's how you share info, Brandon, Matthew. Some people who have loose lips, this is how you share info to actually make something happen. James?
Man, so I was going anywhere from 2 to 4. I feel like people don't understand how easy it is to become the target when you already are the target on the beach.
Yeah. Right.
So with that being said, I'm going to give Jam Jam a 4.
Ooh.
And the reason why I'm gonna give him a 4 is because 1, I feel like he built trust with Ratu. Voting together builds trust.
It's true.
I mean, so now he kind of can almost replace Kane a little bit if need be, and possibly bring over Carolyn if she isn't too Brandon opposed. But then they still have flexibility to play the middle because Jam Jam held up his end of the bargain. He didn't try any chicanery. And there's a lot of chicanery that happens in Survivor. And I feel like he's in that place where I feel like him and Jamie are both in a place where you're not accountable for the votes. So Matt going home, Franny won't be mad at Jam Jam because Matt went home. And if you can be the person that isn't accountable for the votes, a la Gabler, when you come back, that's a great place to be because people don't look at you as a driving force. And you just have to get the 4. You just have you get you get the 7 with 4, and you get from 7 get down to the fire making. And right now he's at 10, and I see 3 bigger targets in front of Jam Jam, getting him. I see a Brandon, I see a Danny, I see a Kane, I see a. People start now thinking after who can I beat at the end. So you look at Jam Jam, it's going to be like I can beat Jam Jam at the end,
right.
And that's the best place to be in the game. You don't want to be in the place where people are like, "Well, Jam Jam is playing this phenomenal game." He got because he's not looked at the one that's getting himself out of trouble. You know, when you look at the one getting getting yourself out of trouble, that just raises your threat level astronomically. And don't ask me how I know this. So I feel like he's playing the game at the right. You want to be, if you're that decoy vote, it's the best place to be because power players are going to trust you to be the decoy vote to get out whoever they want to get out, and you're going to get all the information. So I'm giving him 4 dice for keeping everybody happy, building bonds, yet not being responsible for a vote out. Best place to be.
These are good points.
And he's got such a skill at making everyone laugh. No big deal. Oh, you put my name down again? Whatever. Like, let's name the tribe. You know, he's got that skill. I have to imagine, I'm going to say it again, he ain't going to be the target again. But I hope I'm not cursing.
And like, I can see, I feel like an episode is coming up because, you know, we're seeing the journey between him and Carolyn. And I could see her using her idol to save Jam Jam. And like, nobody knows it's happening, but it's going to put them in a powerful position. Like later on, like a couple episodes from now. And like, I could see that happening.
I wholeheartedly agree, only because people feel confident telling people who they're voting for.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I didn't tell Owen one of the votes. You don't want to tell people these votes. Like you want to, you have to monitor allies. And if you, I feel like that's something that is going to happen. And you only have to get to 4. And you need less numbers as you get. And there being a powerful duo of 2, they can go a lot of places. They can pull in a Franny who's kind of by herself a little bit now, Franny and Heidi. I just like where Carolyn and Jam Jam are at, and you know, I'm jealous of their position right now.
The audience gave him 4 dice, so he is going to average out with 4 dice. But that makes me want to ask you a question, James, because Carolyn and Jam Jam do seem like a bit of a duo, but I also think that Carson and them are a bit of a trio. But does that put Carson in a not so good place because he doesn't really have a duo, or a good place because he's part of a trio?
So I think the difference between duos is like how much agency do people think those duos have. So if you're a duo, you're still 2 votes. But if people don't think you have the agency, meaning that they're coming to you and they're telling you what to vote and you're doing that, right? That's great at this part of the game because you don't have the numbers now. But when you get to 8 and you have 2, you control 25% of the vote. And now you become the swing. So they just have to get through these next couple of votes, and then they're going to be in this perfect swing position. And if they keep Carson, even better. You know, like, or let's say they bring in Jamie. That's 3 at 8. You have like
Carson even can bring in Kane as well.
Yeah.
And like they have like 4.
It's very, very interesting. I feel like, you know, Carson, you want to have the targets in front of you. I feel like people view Carson as more of a threat than what the edit is showing, only because, you know, you knock out a puzzle that quick. People don't forget in the game. Like you do one thing, and he went through that puzzle pretty quickly. And I feel like at some point the all shucksness, people are like, nope.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Xander effect where like he's adorable, he's really young, let's let him play this game, but we're never going to reward him with the win. It could be one of those situations.
Yeah, I mean,
but with those puzzle skills, like you could reward him at the end.
But like they might not think that it's like be like, oh, like he's a young kid, like he's great at puzzles.
I mean, it's I feel like New Age Survivor is less about like the challenges and winning challenges. I feel like it depends. I feel like the way the casting is going, people are more about kind of game moves and not really last, like the camp, the challenges, like, I think it depends on the type of players that you're having a season. So if you have players like, let's say, more physical players get to the end, then you're going to have more of a physical competitive vote. If you have less, competitive players from a, outplay standpoint get to the end, there's going to be more of a social make moves. So I feel like that's this kind of interesting dynamic where he also, and I think people always forget this, he's the smallest guy out there. And that gives you a great advantage when it comes to just, you see Brandon, you see Danny, Matt Six, he just does, he's able to, your eyes don't lie out there. And you look at Carson, he's a smaller guy, younger guy, and you feel, this guy I can take with me. And I feel like either they're going to get hip to it or he's going to go far.
Right. Well, today our lowest average was Kane with 2 dice, and our highest was Lauren with 5. Not too shabby. James, thank you so much for joining us today. Literally changing my mind in a moment.
Oh, I'm persuasive.
Yeah. It was hard to do. So, is there anything going on that you want to share with the viewers and where you want them to follow you?
So you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter is J2 DA Jones. I probably should have did that with my name instead of maybe Godfather. Be prepared for random food, cocktails, and occasional Survivor talk on my Twitter. Outside of that, I just say, it's a game, folks. Does not get too personal with the players. Everybody on this cast, I love this cast. Great people. They're casting really great people this season. I'm excited for the game to really get started and to have us have a whole vote. Hopefully we have a whole vote.
Please, with everybody having their vote. I want everybody having their vote. I want everybody to vote.
I want everyone there sitting in tribal, ready to vote.
I want everybody in danger. Everybody in danger. That's Survivor.
Well, still a few people have their shot in the dark, so not necessarily, but
so question for both of you. Jeff announced the day after the episode that even if Franny or anyone had brought Matt's bag, he would not have been able to take it. Like, the twist was those people are separate. You don't get anything. How do y'all feel about that?
I hate this twist. Because you spend so much time building equity, even if it was a one world situation where everybody's on the same beach, and then you go to tribal, I feel like it gives a player more agency where there could be more stuff happening. Also, but I will say, you take your bag everywhere. So there's no situation where you leave your bag. Like, you don't leave your bag. So that's...
Was that just a really dumb mistake, leaving your bag? Like, that's just...
I wouldn't say dumb, but you don't leave your bag. Like, even if you don't take everything in your bag, you may have some clothes that are drying and in your bag, but you always take your bag to a challenge. Like, I don't remember not taking my bag anywhere.
Wow. Go ahead, Chantele.
No, for me though, like I was frustrated obviously by it, but I think that I too would take my bag everywhere. But like, the shot in the dark is played at tribal council. Like, why do you need to what is the scroll in your bag? Like, what's in his bag that he needed to have?
I didn't even realize you carry that around.
Right?
James, why are y'all carrying that around?
Like, can you say what it is? Are you carrying around a dice? Like, to be like, I'm playing this dice today? Like, what is it that you're carrying around?
I mean, I feel like you just always, I feel like part of it is that uneasiness. You just carry your stuff with you. I mean, I feel like I have my
shot in the dark.
Yeah, what is the actual shot in the dark?
It's like this little brown cube.
Oh, it's a cube.
It's like it's very losable. Like, I mean, I had my bag when I went home, so I'm pretty sure I didn't go back to the home beach and I had my bag. So I took my bag with me. I think
this whole time I thought the shot in the dark lived up in the voting booth.
Absolutely, with all like the chess pieces up there and the scrolls and
you just pull it out when you're ready to play it.
No, they give it to you. They give you like a little dice, and you keep it with you. And yeah, I lost mine. So
So if you lost yours, but if you wanted to play it, you wouldn't have been able to play it if you wanted to at Tribal.
I think you could probably ask production for another one. My bag also burnt, so like there's a whole other thing where it was just like
maybe Matt should have been able to ask him like, "Hey,
may I have a shot in the dark?"
But I think losing your shot in the dark and leaving your bag are two different things.
That's true.
From a production standpoint, like stuff gets lost at camp. You're like, I mean, I feel like they wouldn't give you an idol if you lost it, but I feel like a shot in the dark they would give to you possibly.
Oh, that's so fascinating. Jeez.
It's small, but it's in your bag. You can put it in your pocket too.
It didn't even cross my mind that it wasn't something that you could automatically play at Tribal Council because you're going to be losing your vote. So there's the collateral there. It's like, okay, I'm coming to Tribal Council. I'm here as a person. I'm giving you my vote so I can play my shot in the dark. And so I didn't realize there was a physical object that you had to play when you were going to utilize your shot in the dark.
And that's what chicanery could be. Chicanery could have been Jam, like, having Matt play it, giving Jam Matt his shot in the dark. Like crazy stuff happens at Tribal. So I don't know.
Maybe he shouldn't have said anything and been like, just pretend like he's going to be playing his shot in the dark, and like maybe something would have shake up.
That is like, I'm playing my shot in the dark and I'm playing my idol. I don't know what's happening right now. Take your risk if you want, vote for me.
Yeah, for sure. He was too honest. Like he should have said, like, at this point, I think I would have snuck into someone else's bag and stole their shot in the dark. Like, branded with your monogram. Like, do whatever you got to do.
I mean, screw the papaya that he was trying to offer up. He could have offered up something else.
Yeah. I mean, I think he I feel like if people thought his idol was real, and I think him disclosing that information and Danny not being there, he could have bluffed this way considering Josh didn't have the real idol and he did have the key. So I feel like that was probably the only thing he could have did was I had my idol, I had my shot in the dark. I'm playing them both.
Yeah.
And also, like, even if Brandon was able to maybe out him, because if we're not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but each idol the fake idol is the real idol at another camp. So Brandon might have been able to vouch for the fact that like, oh, that's actually a fake, or oh, that's actually real, because he wouldn't have seen maybe all three variations of the advantage.
Or you see the idol is the same, you think, oh, they're all the idols look like this.
Exactly.
So
I wish that he just played his tribal a little bit, or his little round better.
Just tried a papaya instead. Oh, poor Matt. So happy that they're a cute little couple in real life, though, and hope that Franny's able to go far. Ooh, I don't know. Also hope that Carson isn't sick, and that we just get some fun times this week coming up. Chantele, is there anything that you want to promote? You've got a challenge going on.
Just talking the Challenge Global. Do you watch the Challenge Global, James?
Oh, I literally I watched Real World Rules like growing up. Like I've been locked in for forever with the challenge. Like I love the challenge, God willing, like, love it. Yeah.
So are you watching the Global Championships right now, or
yes? Oh, yes, I am rooting for my guy Danny.
Absolutely. Okay, great. No, I mean, I cover it on my channel, usually on Wednesdays and Fridays. Like, it's really a good season. It's one of the best seasons this like in the last little while. And so, yeah, if you ever want to come and talk with the challenge, like the invitation is open. I love challenge fans.
Wait, did it turn out to be better than last season? Like USA won?
Oh my gosh, it's really good.
I should have held out. I didn't.
Okay, can I say something? It's so good, Sarah, that I'm rooting for Sarah. Okay,
that's what I hear.
It's so interesting for so many. Like, it's weird knowing the personalities now a little bit. Now that I know Justine. Like, I've met some of these people now where I'm just like, oh shoot! Like, I see how stuff. It's great. Like, I love it.
Well, I'm glad it turned out to be so good. I was worried.
Very fun. Last episode was the best episode of the season. For sure.
Yay. Well, USA 2 just started filming.
Yeah.
Saw that cast out there on the interwebs.
Allegedly, I feel like some of the cast members are still in the real world right now that were allegedly rumored to be on it. So I'm not, some of them are, some of them are.
Oh, okay. Are they already out?
Spoilers are always wrong. It's to some extent. There's always something wrong. There's some of those alternates I definitely know are wrong. But there's absolutely some mistakes there. But we won't talk about that live on the internet. So, you guys, thank you for joining us live in the chat. We super appreciate it. And if you're joining later, please leave a comment with your ratings. Who's getting 5? Who's getting only 1 dice? We want to know. Tell us who you're rooting for, all that good stuff. And hopefully James will come back in the future. It was so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace.